So, in summary, if we think about it, we really want to know, thinking about that data generating process, who is part of it, what is the measurement, why were the data generated, what is missing, what is not said. All these possible sources that might, prevent us from making valid inference. And these kind of questions you should ask yourself no matter whether the data are found or designed. Because these questions are often hard to answer, the American Association for Public Opinion Research has put in a transparency initiative. And it's worthwhile checking out their website if you want to see all the different methodological pieces that you could ask when you ask someone about the data generating process. So far, the Transparency Initiative only covers survey data, but it's just a matter of time until that will cover other data sources as well. On the survey data side, one visualization of the data generating process is this figure here that you find in the textbook from Robert Groves and a set of colleagues. It's depicted here on the left, and a similar graph in the survey quality book from Lars Lieberg and Paul Beamer. What's nice about this graph here, shows you two arms, do like this, On the right-hand side, you see the representation side. We have a population, maybe true population mean as a construct. From that population, you take a sampling frame. I'll explain in much more detail what that means in the second module. We'll take a sample, a subset of that population frame. Then we hopefully get some respondents and have to do some post-survey adjustment. This just put some words out. Module 3 has each of these pieces in a lot of details. On the measurement side on the left, that's sort of going from a general construct that's of interest to you to an actual measurement to a response that a respondent gives you. And then probably some editing going on. Both of these processes are needed to be well understood in order to come up with good survey statistic. Now, this is for survey data. You could similarly create these kind of graphs for other process data, like the administrative data that we talked about before, or even like experimental data. Not every box will appear. There might be other boxes, but that's the kind of thing you should think about before you work with data. It's interesting. The process of collecting survey data actually generates also process data. Gets into an infinitive regress, doesn't it? We call these process data that appear as part of a survey data collection paradata. They can be anything. They can be the timestamp when an interviewer is keying in information from the respondent into the computer. They can be information on the weather when they were out soliciting these interviews. We do know about effects on weather on happiness, so if you measure happiness in certain conditions, might be effects there. They can be vocal characteristics of the interviewers. We did find effects on the number of ums and ahs that an interviewer says during the recruitment process, being predictive of whether someone successfully participates or agrees to participate in a survey versus not. All those things do matter in the data generating process. And we'll talk about some of these pieces in both questionnaire design and the course on face-to-face, telephone, and web survey data collection. Now, as I mentioned, for any of the other data sources, you can think of similar graphs. This one here is a suggestion by Paul Beamer and written up in detail in the APO Task Force report on big data that is linked through the course website and available freely online. Here you have a whole bunch of individual data sources, likely, that get extracted from the web, then edited. Variables, features are generated out of it and stored in some form. When you analyze the data, often there is some reduction necessary to return or to get results quickly, and some computation and visualization. So you see, again, a process. You want to know what that process is like and what happens along the way. Here's a picture of the task force report. Might be worthwhile summing through and seeing a lot of what I just said repeated in print, but also some more explanation, in particular on this last figure.